following episode is for adult audiences only. The opinions expressed are those of the individual on the show and do not reflect those of any employer, organizations, or foundations. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Road Death Travel Podcast. Platicar con la muerte.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Road Death Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Pat, with my co-host,
Rob Tovar.
Well, buddy, how you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Wearing my buddy's hat.
Cool. What is that?
37Ts, 37ts.com. You can check them out. He's a guy that does full graphic tees. They're about doing some wicked art on front, back, sides, kind of something different. But it's a full graphic tee. They're a little bit more pricey, but then all the proceeds go to fighting sex trafficking. So he's really trying to make a stand in that world and make a difference. So I told him I'd rock his hat today and go check it out. He's got some really cool graphics that you guys probably like, especially if you like this kind of stuff. He's got a lot of it. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to another episode.
Let's get into it.
You wanted energy. I'm bringing the energy.
Let's do it.
Pay no attention to the 12 volt underneath me. Pavlok.
Well, you ready for this one today?
I don't know if I'm ready for any of these.
It's funny you say that because you're like, man, does the next one get any stranger? And I go, well, I don't know if they get any stranger, but they're all...
Is this why you had such a hard time finding co-hosts? Because it's like, I don't think you guys understand the preparation that has to go into being a co-host for something as weird as this book. Like, it's out there.
It is, but it's pretty fucking awesome.
It is. It is. True crime junkies are going to love you.
I mean, there really isn't anything out there like this.
It's true. I actually have to be careful of who I have check it because it's not for everybody. It's like...
No, I think it is for everybody. It's just some people have to read it a little slower and take it in strides. I have one friend that he reads about a chapter a month, and I have others that...
It's not for the faint-hearted,
that's
for sure.
This
is some morbid stuff, but, you know, we're the dark humor crowd.
Absolutely.
Deathly curious.
Deathly curious.
All right, where are we going today?
Well, which one do you want me to talk about?
Didn't you have a weird one about a wedding?
Oh, there is the wedding one. I can definitely talk about the wedding story.
What was it, Wedding Crashers?
Wedding Crashers is a definite good name for this one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a fantastic movie.
Well,
this is not the movie.
This is not.
This is the movie nobody asked for.
No. Although this one could be a movie.
It really could be.
Well, we got a call from a town that has a lot of money, which is actually kind of funny because the place this crime scene takes place, I actually was there a week prior for another case, but that case was a food poisoning case where apparently they got some shrimp that was, I don't know, infected or something like that, and the guy died of like food poisoning.
Huh.
So it has nothing to do with this, but it just happened to be the same location. And this place is well known for like awesome food. Awesome food.
It's always the fish market.
But I've actually always wanted to go there.
Okay.
But I'm not going to go there because of the food poisoning death and then this story.
Fair enough. But this isn't a well-to-do neighborhood.
It's in a very well-to-do neighborhood.
All right.
But
all right.
But in all actuality, this has nothing to do with the food.
Okay.
This is just a strange story.
All right.
So there's a wedding that's going on. Not everyone at this wedding spoke the best of English. If I can recall, they were possibly of Polish descent.
Fair enough.
Somewhere around that area. And so I get a call from the police department telling me that somebody had died at during this wedding they were having. I'm like, that sucks. Someone died, and I said, anything suspicious? They said, no, the guy had a grabber. But anytime that someone dies unseen, it requires a response.
Right.
Plus, obviously, they don't know about this guy's doctor. They don't know anything about him. He's just some guy at a wedding, and not a lot of people really spoke English, so there was not a lot of information. So I head out there, and I show up, and I go there, and, the wedding's going on. The wedding's going on. Why wouldn't it, right? That was a lot of that going on.
Nice. So they were into the fun part of the evening.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the dancing was going on.
Cool.
They said it was kind of an elderly
Everybody
gentleman.
likes a wedding.
They do. So I'm taking pictures of the scene and, doing all that. And I get out and, there was the ambulance out front. And a lot of times when people die and it's a busy area, I've never had a death at a wedding before this, but, sometimes when you have a busy area, whether it's a wedding or a grocery store, or someone dies, or, a busy area, they'll take the dead body and put him in the ambulance. You don't want to leave it out in the public. People get freaked out, and it's more of a courtesy thing for the deceased and the family and stuff like that. So I take all the pictures, and I do all that, and I'm talking to the cops about some stuff, and so I head outside to the ambulance,
expecting there to be
a body in the ambulance.
Right.
So I open up the doors. I'm like, where the fuck is the body at? And the cops they're running out to get me. They're like, whoa, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm looking at. I need to see where the body is because I got to take some photos and I got to do my job. I have to process the scene and the body and stuff like that. And then they're like, no, the body's in the ambulance. I'm like, well, where the fuck is the body at?
What did you guys do with the body?
Right, I'm like, where is it?
I didn't sign up for that kind of party.
And they're like, oh no, the body's still at the wedding. And I'm like, what do you mean the body's at the wedding? The wedding is still going on. Oh no, the body's on the dance floor. I'm like,
what?
Wait a minute.
It sounded like Coco.
Stop. Let's rewind for a second. There's people dancing on the dance floor. They're like, yeah, we know. I said, wait. I said, hold up.
What?
This is an active crime scene. You're telling me that when I was taking photos in there, you guys failed to mention that there's a body on the dance floor and that there's people around it, and that you're just allowing them to keep dancing?
Did they drop it like it's hot?
They were. But I literally was just like, I was like, I can't believe this is actually happening right now.
So you have photos of a dead body on a dance floor? I mean, did you take pictures of the dance floor?
Well, I took pictures of the overall scene from the outside.
Okay.
Because I wasn't about to interrupt their wedding because the body's outside.
Because the body
it was
should have
just
been
a general
inside. Right.
scene. So when you go into a crime scene, you're taking pictures overall of the scene from all these different angles, right? Well, there's no reason for me to start getting up close to anything. I didn't really get details anyway yet.
And you're not expecting a dead body on the dance floor.
That's absolutely correct. So I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So I walk in, and I go in there. Sure as shit, here's a dead body in the middle of the fucking dance floor, and these people are just dancing and shit and doing their thing, and then there's the bride and the groom, and they're dancing, and everyone else is doing their thing, and there's this dude just face down, dead on the dance floor. I'm like, you have got to be shitting me. And so I'm like, I said to the cops, I'm like, you got to get these people out of here. They're like, we tried, and no one wants to leave. They even brought someone who spoke whatever languages there was. No one wanted to leave. No one gave a shit. And I'm like, this is a crime scene. They have to leave. We have a dead body in the middle of the floor. The paramedics didn't pick up the body. I'm like, this has to stop. And the cops are like, well, we're not doing anything about this. This is just a grabber. This guy's old. He was an elderly guy. And I'm like, well, two things are going to happen. Either one, you're going to have them leave, or two, I'm going to do this my way, and I'm going to get them to leave. And then they were like, how is that going to happen? I said, man, you don't want to know. But I said, let's try to get them out of here. And they're like, we're not doing that because, people paid a lot of money. This is a very, I guess you can call it an uppity town.
An affluent town.
Yeah. And so they did not want to get the people to move. I asked the DJ to stop playing music. The DJ pretty much told me to go pound sand. And so I just went and unplugged everything, which obviously the music stopped. I flipped on the lights. And
everybody out.
And there went that party. And so
you think they were just trying to like save money and do the
I don't know
celebration of life?
But I really couldn't believe that they were literally out there
dancing
still partying.
over a dead body.
It ended up being if I recall, it was the bride's uncle or great uncle or something like that. And so we ended up talking to the family and through an interpreter, and why would you guys keep doing this? And this is what he would have wanted. And it was just like weird.
All celebration of lifestyle.
I don't know if you want to call it a celebration of life, but I can tell you that it was definitely odd. But just to see them out there, I mean, obviously they were all wasted, but to see them all just dancing and then just see literally this dude face first just DOD, dead on the dance floor, and people just dancing, and no one cared. It was this crazy that nobody cared. There's just this dead dude out there.
We should turn that into a shirt.
DOD, dead on the dance floor. We could. He's just some guy
with a disco ball and the skull's right in the middle of it.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. You can buy that shirt pretty soon at trdtmedia.com. So I just found it just completely odd and strange that, one, it was happening, two, that the cops never cleared it out like that, and that they allowed it to continue. I thought it was nuts.
So, this might not be tasteful. Do you remember what song was playing when you walked in?
It was in another language. I don't know.
Oh. Was it like ska?
It was not Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, I can tell you that.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
I know.
So, you show up, you're taking photographs.
Mm-hmm.
At the point that you discover that the body is in the dance floor, does that tighten the scope of the photographs you now have to obtain before you shut this party down?
It was a whole new set of photographs I had to take.
So what did that look like? What's going through your mind as this is processing? And because for like me, when I do a setup for a job or something like that, I usually have this frame of reference, and that's when all the hey, while you're here show up. And that frame of reference becomes a lot more laser focused on things that I wasn't prepared for,
Yeah.
So in your line of work, what would that have looked like where you did all these photographs, now you expected to find a dead body in the ambulance, and it's suddenly not there. What went through your mind?
What went through my mind when I realized there was no body in the ambulance?
Right. Did you think somebody ran off with it?
No, first was what the fuck? Because now what went through my mind was, well, the body's in the ambulance, where is it? And then the first thing that went through my mind was, please don't tell me the body is inside. And then the cops went, the body's inside. And I just went, oh, God.
Was that interaction cordial? I feel like I would be irate at that point.
No, there's no reason to be irate. It was me telling them that it was very unprofessional of them to not do what they should have been doing.
Right.
There's no getting irate would get me nowhere.
Fair enough.
But it's my scene at that point, so I instruct them what to do, and I did what I had to do. So
this is also why I'm not a cop.
But that's how that went. And then the DJ didn't want to cooperate. No one wanted to cooperate, so I just did shit my way. I unplugged stuff and got everybody out so I could take my scene photos.
So, being that we both also have an audio background, when you unplug that system, did it make a pop?
I don't remember. It was like, how you have all the DJs set up and he was on a little stage and it was plugged into the wall. I just kind of took the whole system at once and went and then turned the lights on. That was a showstopper.
Yeah. Yeah, in an affluent neighborhood. So,
I had to do my job.
Well, of course.
And it's a crime scene.
Of course.
I mean, for all I know, the guy got stomped to death. I don't know.
And very well could have by the time you were there.
But I don't know. That's the thing. And you have to treat everything like a homicide until you know otherwise.
So did as the party started sobering up, because clearly at a crime scene, some people get held back, to answer questions, things like that. And with them being wasted, that doesn't make them a very good witness, if you will. So how did that break down? Like, how long were you on scene?
Couple hours.
Couple hours trying to wait for people.
I mean, there were a couple. Fortunately, there were a couple of pregnant females that were there that were not drinking, that they were able to.
And they were still nonchalant about it, or did
most of the
show any kind of?
I mean, once we sat down and talked to the bride, she was pretty upset about it because it was her, like I said, her uncle, great uncle, or a cousin, or whatever the heck the guy was.
Okay.
She, started breaking down about it. No one else really seemed to give a damn. Either they didn't like the guy or they were too drunk to care.
Interesting. It's like a 2-for-1 special.
It was crazy.
You got the happiest moment of somebody's life and one of the worst moments of somebody's life happening in the same event.
It was nuts.
And both of which actually get celebrated at the end. Interesting.
Yep.
Let the Bodies Hit the Floor.
Yep.
Remake.
Yep.
Now with Polish ska music.
Telling you.
I love it. I mean, it's still a sad story, but...
Well, we said it before. None of them are happy stories.
No, there's nothing in this book that's happy.
No, it's fucking weird. But like I said, you can't make it up.
You mean if you died at a wedding, you'd want them to stop the show?
I don't know what I'd want to happen if I died at a wedding.
I'd say at least finish the set.
Yeah, there you go.
He would have wanted it this way. And just prop you up.
Weekend at Bernie's?
It'd be like Coco.
Oh, God.
Make it family friendly.
Yes. Well, everybody, we'd like to thank you very much for tuning into another episode of the Road Death Travel Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Jason Pat, with my co-host, Rob Tovar.
Hey.
And thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Platicar con la muerte.